What is up, everybody? I'm your Legendary Commander, and welcome back to Ark Survival Evolved. In this episode, we're going to look at what they did in the Megalodon's TLC. Now, when I say TLC, they did not tender love and care like they did some of the others. However, what they did to it may have been ultimately the best thing for it. There is no model update. However, a Megalodon now gets a pack buff. And with that pack buff, he also gets a bleed effect when he bites an opponent. This happens on both either the creature is wild or when you own it yourself, which means you can cause other creatures to bleed, as well as both sides get that pack buff. Now you'll notice it only pack buffs up to 8, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and if you count this guy, that makes 10. So either he should be a plus 9, or he should be a plus 10. Well, the first one doesn't count, so having one Megalodon with another Megalodon does a plus 1. So after that, you would need to get a plus 8 up to 7 more. You would need 9 total sharks. And if you try and add another one, nothing happens. So having any more than, well, 9 sharks isn't really necessary. However, an extra might not hurt to keep that pack buff full. So now that we've done all the math here, let's take these guys out for some testing. So this first bit of testing, this guy was a bit out of place. I'd hoped he was going to fight here, but he wouldn't. But I will super spyglass him to give you an idea of what we're going to be fighting later. Also to show you how much the bleed damage does. The hardest part here was actually catching him to swarm him. Now for some further testing. Now I want you to keep in mind that these Megalodons are all just Force Tame 150s. No saddle, never been leveled. Okay, keep that in mind because we're going to do some testing here at how powerful these Megalodons have become. So for my first test, we're going to fight an alpha Mosa. This is probably one of the most dangerous things you would fight out in the ocean aside from a player. As you can see here, we literally ripped this thing apart. It really doesn't stand a chance. And this is actually with 10 Megalodons. That's actually pretty dangerous. Megalodons aren't that hard to tame. The biggest problem in taming an animal in the sea is just managing not to let it get eaten by everything else after you tame it. So what's next? Well, I'm going to take these guys and test them further. No healing time, just into the next job. They're going to go fight an alpha Tuso. Again, you can kind of see we're ripping them apart. However, because the Tuso is not moving, the numbers don't seem to fly as fast, which does lead me to be a little more concerned about fighting the Tuso. I would not chase after a Tuso without leveling these guys first, just to have the extra health and the extra bite damage. And in the end, we ended up losing 2 Megalodons. Now, the damage they received seemed to be, well, still mitigated by having the pack buff. And when I decided to put them against another one directly afterwards, giving them very little time to heal, we still won the battle. The day was won, and we killed 2 Alpha Tusos and a Mosa. Well, to be honest, I'm actually not sure if I did kill the first Tuso because it inked and I never saw a death message. I did look for it in the area but couldn't find it. It may have got lucky and fled for its life, but probably killed it or at least got it to that point anyway. Without leveling these guys. Yes, we took some casualties, but we didn't even have saddles. Not even cheap saddles. That's something to say about a buff to that degree. Now, I would also point out, don't pay attention to the numbers rolling off the enemy. because this is a single player. Single player does give an extra buff to dinos, mainly in the percentages of how much they get per level. But I just want you to think about it. If you were to take your Megalodons and level them, put saddles on them, get them anywhere near what we're seeing here, there is no reason anything in this ocean, except for jellies, which actually in my run-in with jellies, the jellies lost, should even stop you. Because, well, just the sheer number, and when they swarm in and they bite and they hurt so much, they'll devour pretty much anything they come into contact with. The Megalodons have become OP. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to tell your friends. And as always, y'all take care. And I'll catch you next time.